Hi, this is Nathaniel from Cybershark TV. Today we'll be looking at a room named Blue by TryHackMe. So this room focuses on an exploit named EternalBlue. So as you can see, we are currently targeting a Windows system. For this exercise, we have to go through several phases. The first one is reconnaissance, second one is gaining access, escalating privileges, cracking the hashes, and finally finding the flags. So since EternalBlue is an exploit, I'll just do a brief explanation on what an exploit is. So an exploit is basically a piece of software or a series of commands that takes advantage of a vulnerability on an application or host system to gain unauthorized access. Right, so since you know what an exploit is now, I'll do a brief introduction on what actually EternalBlue is. I'll make sure that I put this link in the description. Alright, so EternalBlue, as you know, that it's an exploit. It was developed by the NSA, the National Security Agency in USA, as a cyber weapon to gain access to Windows operating systems which has enabled SMB version 1. So SMB is a protocol, is a network protocol which is used to share files or printers in network. So as you can see, it affects only Windows operating systems. Anything that uses SMB v1. V1 means version 1. SMB means server message block. File sharing protocol. So it targets the Windows operating system which has enabled SMB version 1 to gain unauthorized access and to directly escalate their privileges to administrator. Alright, so how was EternalBlue developed? Well, simple, by programming, obviously. But I'll ask you a question. So why did they develop it? So it says EternalBlue was developed by the United States NSA as part of their controversial program of stockpiling and weaponizing cybersecurity vulnerabilities. So they basically, NSA is an intelligence service, a cyber intelligence service unit, or a department in America, which their responsibility is to perform espionage activities on terrorists and target several targets and spying, right? So for that cyber spying, they need exploits, or they have to have those cyber weapons to make their job easy. So that's why they created an exploit named EternalBlue. So you would ask me, if the NSA developed, how did the cybersecurity community come to know about this? Well, on I think 14th of April 2017, a group of hackers named shadow brokers, they hacked into NSA and got several tools and softwares the NSA was using, and one of them is EternalBlue. So it says the NSA gets hacked and unwittingly unleashes EternalBlue's eternal threat out into the world. So but here's what we know about how EternalBlue was leaked. It was leaked by shadow brokers. So how does EternalBlue work? Well, it works by taking advantage of the SMB version 1 vulnerability, as I said. Well, you can read this article, which is very interesting, but now I'll be going to the practical session. Alright, so as you can see, I have already started the machine. So it says, can I learn what exploit this machine is vulnerable to? Please note that this machine does not respond to PIN or ICMP and may take a few minutes to boot up. So that means we have to specify tag PN while using Nmap to scan the network. Right, so if we start, nmap tag sc for all default scripts, tag a for aggressive, t for the time, pn for not to stop pinning, and tag p tag for all ports, and finally the IP address, which I have to copy. So as you can see, the nmap scan has started. Since it's going to take a long time, I have already scanned and taken output. So you can use tag on and specify a file to save the scan. So that's what I have done earlier. So you can get it using cat. Yeah, so this is the results of the scan. As you can see, it has 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 open ports. There's SMB open 445, and there's RPC, which is a remote procedure call, and there's no BIOS. And if we go down, you can see that the target operating system is Windows 7 Professional, and the user is John PC. So using nmap, you can basically find all the basic information about the target. And yeah, so let's go to the questions they have asked. Scan the machine. If you are unsure how to tackle this, I recommend checking out the nmap room. So yeah, we used the nmap tool to scan the network. And the next one is, how many pods are open with a port number under 1000? Under 1000 means 1351. So these three, others are about 1000. Right, so 3. And the final question is, what is a machine vulnerable to? Right, so to find that, there are several ways. Since we are obviously we know that it's vulnerable to EternalBlue and this exploit, as I explained you. So to scan and find it, you can use the same tool, which is nmap. And the special thing about nmap is there's a thing called scripting engine. So that it has several scripts you can use to perform various tasks, such as enumerating users, enumerating information, checking whether it's vulnerable to a specific exploit, etc. So the scripts are, you can let's see. Yeah, these are the default scripts. I'm sorry, these are the scripts which the scripting engine is using. So since port 445, which is SMB, is open, we can find any SMB scripts. Alright, so you can see there's SMB brute, SMB double parser back 2, and yeah, so you can see it has the EternalBlue scanner too. So there's a way to scan, or to use all the scripting and scripts one shot, but yeah, I'll demonstrate, but we are not going to scan using that because it's going to take a long time. So you can put tag a, tag, and for that you have used tag script equals smb dash star. Its star is a wildcard and the target IP. So it will run all these scripts on this target and see what vulnerabilities or what information they can gather. So since we know that this target is vulnerable for this, or the MS17-010 script, so we could directly specify that. So you can nmap script tag a and port P. You can specify ports by assigning tag P, or if you want to scan all the ports, you can specify tag P tag So I'm going to put 4445 since it's SMB, and the target. Oops. Let me copy back. So yeah, for the answer you can put MS17-010. As you can see, yeah, so it says SMB1 MS17-010 is vulnerable. It's a remote card execution vulnerability in Microsoft. Great. So, and yeah, the risk factor is high. So yeah, so we have confirmed that this target is vulnerable for this specific exploit. Alright, now our reconnaissance phase is over. We can move into gaining access, so which is the best part. Right, so this is to start Metasploit. Metasploit is a framework which actually helps to exploit systems automatically by specifying payloads, target hosts, and etc. I'll show you. MSF console. So yeah, to start Metasploit, the command is MSF console. Make sure you have the updated version. So what does the application say? Find the exploitation code we will run against the machine. What is the full path of the code? Alright. So according to this, it's MS17-010. So if we Google this, yeah, so it says MS17, yeah. So did the scan tab? Yeah. So as you can see, we have started Metasploit framework. What was the question? Find the exploitation code we will run against the machine. Yeah. So if you Google, it says MS17 is called EternalBlue. We could directly find an exploit using find an exploit for this EternalBlue using this search command. Just type EternalBlue, and it has 5 possible modules. Alright, so yeah, so it has this, the EternalBlue one, which is EternalBlue SMB remote Windows kernel pool corruption. The PS exec, yeah, this is more a real life module, so where attackers could basically create persistence. I mean, you can create persistence in this too, but this is more stable, right? So yeah, we could use this canvas to find whether, I mean, we know we have used nmap to find it, but it's good, it's better if we use this module too to, like, you know, to practice it. So you can use 3, or you can just copy paste the whole thing. Type options, and in this you need our host. So set our host into the target IP. And they have already specified the port, and yeah, just type run. I hope it works. There you go. So it says host is likely vulnerable to MS17-010. So it says Windows 7 Professional. So same result which came, which the nmap gave. Cool. What is a question? Right. So find the exploitation code we will run against the machine. So we used this module, the auxiliary scan SMB, to just confirm whether the target is vulnerable for the EternalBlue exploit, and now we are gonna use this module or the exploit code to get a shell. So this is the one, exploit Windows SMB. So that is the answer they want, and the second one is show options and set the one required value. Yeah, I'll go with that. So if we use what was that? 0, right? 0. Cool. Okay, so you need to specify our host, set host, and finally you need to specify lhost and lport. Lhost means your own network interface card's IP address. So to find that, the command is ifconfig. My one is 10.10.14.9.175. Copy, set. And you can keep this port number as it is, but I would change it. Set port to, well, my favorite port number is 9000. And right, so yeah, usually it would be fine to run the exploit as is. However, for the sake of learning, you should do one more thing before exploiting the target. Enter the following command and press enter. So yeah, in Metasploit there are various kinds of payloads you can use. So if I type show payloads for this exploit, I think, yeah, so it has totally 56 payloads. For this I would use what was the architecture? Did you find? No. Okay. So for now we won't be using the meterpreter, which is the commonly used payload, but let me do it in a different way. Shell, yeah, not PowerShell. They have used reverse TCP. You can use PowerShell too, to get a PowerShell command line, but let's do as they say. So like set preload Windows, yeah, x64 shell reverse TCP. Nope, inject. Yeah, there you go. This is the payload. And if we type options again, you can see that our host is we have changed our host, and we have changed lhost and lport and the payload. Yeah. So if we type exploit, or you can type run2. What is with that? Run the exploit. Yeah. Confirm that the exploit has run correctly. You may have to press enter for the dust shell to appear. Background this and rush it. If this fails, you may have to reboot the target. Alright. Yes, basically it destroys the target because as I explained you all earlier, the attack is sending a specially crafted messages and destroys the server. Right, let's see. You can see some hexadecimal values, say Windows 7 Professional. Yeah. Some assembly buffers. Now we have gained access. Yeah, it's okay. So yeah. Next, let's go to escalation. What was the last one? Okay, got it. Oh, it's failed. Where is that? Alright. As you can see, we got a command line. You can type remi we are NT authority system. This is basically the idea which the NSA had to gain direct access, so that they don't have to escalate anything. But for us, we may have to escalate some like migration, process migration, etc. So let's go with this. If you haven't already background the previously gained shell, research on how to convert a shell to interpreter shell in Metasploit. What is the name of the post module? Okay. So since this is a command line, there's a thing called interpreter. If we use a interpreter payload, we can dump all the hashes in the system, download and upload files, and if it's a real life scenario, you can even get photos. From using the front camera, the webcam, you can enable microphones, etc. So that those advantages are in that interpreter option. So for that, since this is a command line, you need to convert this shell into a interpreter shell. For that, there is a method or kind of a module saying from shell to interpreter. For that, let's background this scenario or the session by Control Z and say yes. To confirm that in background, you can type sessions tag L, if I'm correct. Yeah, this session, it's there. Let's search shell to interpreter. Okay. Couldn't find it. Okay, yeah, shell to interpreter. It's a post exploitation module which upgrades the shell to a interpreter. Right, so if we use 0 and type options for the things we need to change, lhost, right. So that's a trick. You can lhost, set lhost, and you can specify the network card if config like TUN or TUN0 TUN 0 and L port, let it be that session. What was the session number? It's 1. Okay, so set session 1. Alright, so now we can, what does the question say? What option are we record a change, which is just session. Set the required option. You may need to list all of the sessions to find your target here. Alright, run if this remote try to complete the expire from the previous task once more. Once the interpreter shell conversion completes, select the session for use. Alright. So let's type run. It might take some time. So as you can see, how easy an attacker could get into a system and do unauthorized scenarios, and grab files, get all your saved passwords, or actually extract all the browse passwords too. There's a tool called Mimikatz for that. So it says manipulator session 2 is opened. Let's just enter and type sessions. Alright, we have got a manipulator session. So sessions, tag I for interact and to interact with the second session, and there you go, you get a manipulation. But here you can't type who am I. Sorry. This is not command line. Just type help. See, you can, as I said, record mic, webcam chat. Basically, you can do anything. Clear rails. Like when an attacker finishes his task, he can clear all the records he did in the system. And you are basically in control of the system. What does it say? Verify that we have escalated to NT authority system. Run get system. To confirm this, feel free to open a DOS shell via the command shell and run who am I. This should return that we are indeed system. Okay, so there's a utility called get system in Interpreter, only in Interpreter, to find a possible path to automatically escalate its privileges to administrator. I know that we are currently having administrator privileges, but I'm just showing you the procedure. So this is like go through different routes and kernels and check if there are any vulnerabilities to escalate its privileges to NT authority system. Let's just try. So it says got system via technique 1, which is named pipe impersonation in memory, and we are admin. So to get a command line, you can just type shell, and it says Windows system director. We are indeed administrator. Just type who am I. Cool. List all of the processes running via the ps command. Just because we are system doesn't mean our process is. Find a process towards the bottom of this list that is running at authority system and write down the process ID. Okay, so list all the processes. Let's start processes. Oh yeah, I think it's multiplayer. Let's background by using Ctrl Z. System. Yeah, so the technique I'm going to do right now is called process migration. So think that you have a metadata shell on a system which doesn't have in NT-authority system or the administrative privileges, but when you type PS to find processes, there are other processes which has this access, NT-authority system. So you can migrate your own processor, your process ID, to another process which has this NT-authority system. So I would use WinLog on. This is the most commonly used processor or process name, right? So PID is 644. So you can use migrate 644. Yeah, what does the question say? Yeah, so we find the process towards the bottom of this list. We found it. We can use any of this, but I chose WinLog on. Next it says migrate to this process using this migrate process ID command, where the process ID is the one you just wrote down in the previous step. This may take several attempts. Migration process is not very stable. If this fails, you may need to rerun the conversion process or reboot the machine and start once again. If this happens, try a different process next time. Alright, so I'm pretty sure this is gonna work since WinLog is the most commonly used process to migrate. Let's see. So our the current process I was in was 1312, and now we are migrating it to 644. As you can see, it says migration completed successfully. Alright. Next is cracking. Dump the non-default user's passwords and crack it. Within our elevator printable shell, run the command #dump. This will dump all of the passwords on the machine as long as we have the correct privileges to do so. What is the name of the non-default user? Okay. So as you saw earlier, a command named #dump to dump the contents of the SAM database. SAM database is the database which contains all the Windows systems passwords. So if you like #dump, right, so the user is John, as we saw earlier, and copy this password hash to file and research how to crack it. What is it? Okay, so you can use hashcat to crack it, but since it's gonna take a long time, I am gonna use a online resource, I think Cracked Station. Yeah, just copy this. I think that's wrong. Let's see. Unrecognized. Yeah, this is a password. Type is NTLM. Results, no results. What is that? Am I doing something wrong? Okay. Yeah, so I can use this to explain something. So this is called the NTLM hash, and this is called the LM hash. So in modern computers, these are all together, but in old computers, they had different, like one kind of versions had only LM passwords, which was very easy to crack it, and now it's all together. Yeah. So okay. So why can't I crack it? What is that? Did I? Or is it this? Or is it this? Yeah, cracking John's password, not the administrators. But since we copied the NTLM hash, you can hashcat NTLM cracking, and you can just do your own research and find something, find a way to crack it. Yeah, so the mood is 1000, and you have to specify your word list, and yeah, it's pretty much. You can just Google and see. Cool. Find the 3 flags planted on this machine. These are not traditional flags, rather they are meant to represent key locations within the Windows system. Use the hints provided. Okay, flag 1. This flag can be found at the system root. Check the hint. Can you see it? Okay, system root. All the computers or Windows computers, system root is local disk C. I'm pretty sure that you all know about that. So if we go to shell and C, oh no, how do I change? Okay, and there you go, the first flag. Okay, you can, to get the contents, you can type, there's a utility called type in Windows. So type flag1.txt and you can get the flag. So this is a system root. Flag 2. This flag can be found at the location where passwords are stored within Windows. Windows really doesn't like the location of this flag and can occasionally delete it. It may be necessary in some cases to terminate, restart the machine, and rerun the exploit to find this flag. Okay. I wish I wrote down where I kept my password. Luckily, it's still stored here on Windows. Okay, so what do you mean by that? Okay, so I think it's a SAM database, if I'm not wrong. Probably configuration files. Windows, right? System32, and I think this is the place. There you go. This is where all the configuration files are saved. So you can go to system, software. You can't move into those. Okay, so this flag can be found in an excellent location to loot. After all, administrators usually have pretty interesting things saved. What is it? You'll need to have level approaches to access this flag. Okay. This flag can be found in an excellent location to loot. After all, administrators usually have pretty interesting. Okay. You save your files in documents, right? Yeah. Okay, moving to users. Probably yeah, John, and documents should be there. Yes, there you go. Everyone saves files in the document directory, right? So yeah, this is a final flag. Cool, we did it. So if I do a small recap of this, first we did a full port scan on the target, found that it was running SMB, then just tried to locate SMB in Nmap script engine scripts and used this, since we know it, or else you can use this technique. Oops. To run all the scripts, and after running the script, we found that it was vulnerable, and we started Metasploit, and we first tried this module to detect it, and we found that it was vulnerable. And we tried the EternalBlue exploit. We changed our host and lhost and the port, L port, and we changed our payload to shell reverse TCP and exploited, got a shell. Then we upgraded our shell to a meterpreter shell, and yeah, it's a post exploitation module. U0 lhost session 1, we changed our session, and yeah, we got a meterpreter shell. We got system using the get system command. We unfold the processors running, and we try to migrate it to 644, which is WinLogon. And then we got the hashes, using hashdump. We used crack station to crack the password, which is the NTLM password, this part. And got into the shell and found the 3 flags starting from the root of the system. Cool. Okay, so I hope y'all enjoyed this video and mostly learned something. And I'm planning to do a video on how to exploit this same vulnerability manually without using this Metasploit framework, but yeah, let's see. Thank you for watching.